A storm never apologizes for the chaos it brings, especially when it was born from silence. You see, they thought they were silencing you, breaking you, humbling you. What they didn't realize is that they were feeding something inside you, something bigger than pain, bigger than rage. They weren't fighting just a person, they were picking a fight with the force that chose you. And now they're choking on the power they helped create. Now they regret every move, every lie, every betrayal, because the beast they tried to bury rose, and it doesn't crawl, it hunts. Before we go further, make sure to like and subscribe to help spread this message to more chosen ones. When you do, you tell the algorithm this message matters, that more souls need to hear it, and they do. Because silence has ruled for too long. It's time we speak. Now listen. This isn't a fairy tale, this is a reckoning. You were chosen by the universe itself, not because you were the strongest, but because you were the one who could survive the fire and still walk through the ashes with your head held high. This path was never meant to be easy. You were never meant to be comfortable. You were meant to awaken. The ones who came against you never realized what they were doing. They thought they were taking you down. All the backstabbing, the mocking, the gaslighting. It wasn't random. It was pressure. But pressure is what crushes the weak and awakens the chosen. And when it did, you didn't just survive. You evolved. You see, the universe doesn't pick favorites, it picks fighters. And when it chose you, it knew the storms ahead. It knew you'd be doubted, outcast, underestimated. But the universe also knew what would happen when you got tired of playing small, when you finally snapped, not in weakness, but in power. That was your turning point. That was when the beast took its first breath. And let's be real, they knew you were different. They just hoped you'd never find out. But now that you have, they don't know where to hide. Because you're no longer trying to prove your worth. You're living it. You're no longer asking for space. You're taking it. And every room you enter now bends under the weight of your presence. That's not ego, that's energy. They turned you into something they can't explain. A silent hurricane, a walking paradox, calm but deadly, kind but untouchable. You don't need revenge. Your existence is revenge. Every step forward is a scream they can't silence. Every success is a scar they feel. To the chosen one who's listening right now, stop doubting your light. Stop questioning if you're too much. You're not too much. They were never enough. And never forget, the ones who tried to bury you weren't fighting you. They were wrestling with the universe, and the universe doesn't lose. The power of being chosen is heavy. It haunts your enemies long after you've moved on. It's the kind of power that can't be faked, bought, or borrowed. It shakes rooms, it bends timelines, it whispers to people who once doubted you and now can't stop watching you. That's the power you carry, and the best part, you're just getting started. This is your era, not of revenge, but of becoming. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. They turned you into a beast, and now you love it. So, if you felt that shift inside you, if the silence started to roar and the pain began to sharpen your focus, then you already know this message is yours. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you've stopped trying to fit in and started owning the beast they tried to bury. This isn't just another video, this is a wake-up call. The moment you realize they regret creating you, and you wouldn't change a thing. And now, let's go deeper, step by step. Stay with me. If you're truly chosen, you'll feel it pulling you to the end. Let's get into it. Number 1, they tried to starve you. Now you're the hunger they can't escape. You didn't just survive, you became the consequence. They should have let you heal. They should have walked away when they had the chance. But no, they chose to dig, to provoke, to press every button like your silence was weakness, like your calm was emptiness. What they didn't realize was that your silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. You were learning, you were evolving, and now you've become the kind of force they can't predict, can't understand, and definitely can't control. You're not loud. You don't need to be. The most dangerous storms don't announce themselves. They just arrive and change everything. That's you now, a quiet monster, a walking reckoning. You don't throw punches. You just exist. And that alone wrecks them. Your energy crawls under their skin and haunts their conscience. Not because you said a word, but because you didn't have to. That's how deep your transformation runs. You're not the same. You know it, and they know it too. That's why they flinch when they see you, why they go quiet when you enter the room. You didn't need revenge. You became the mirror they've been running from. And the worst part for them, you love what you've become. You're not hiding the beast anymore. You've made peace with it. You've given it purpose. So don't you dare question yourself now. Don't you dare second-guess the power that was awakened in you. Because here's the truth, and it's brutal. They weren't fighting you. They were challenging the universe that chose you. And when the universe chooses someone, it moves things. It rearranges reality to make room. And anyone who tries to block that path ends up crushed under the weight of what they never understood. To be chosen isn't about glory, it's about pressure, pain, isolation, betrayal. You were never meant to be accepted. You were meant to be triggered, because the beast inside you needed a reason to rise. And when it did, everything changed. You don't look the same. You don't talk the same. You carry a presence now, one that can't be copied, bought, or faked. It's real, it's raw, and it terrifies those who once mocked you. Let them fear it. Some of you are still asking, why me? Why does it hurt so much? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, why did they fear me before I even knew who I was? Because they did. Their actions prove it. That's why they tried to shut you down, water you down, break you down. They saw the glow before you did. And instead of lifting you up, they tried to stomp it out. And here's where you need to wake up. Every time you doubt yourself, you side with them. Every time you hold back your power, you feed their comfort. Stop doing their work for them. You've already been chosen. The universe doesn't make mistakes, but you do when you forget that fact. They weren't just pushing you around. They were playing chess against the universe, and they were arrogant enough to think they could win. That's why they're scared now, because something responded to all that injustice. Something ancient, something cold and unstoppable, and it lives in you. They didn't break you. They built you out of their own cruelty. Every word they used to cut you, every move they made to trap you, it all became part of your armor. Now you walk like steel wrapped in skin, quiet but unshakable. And they feel that in their bones. To the chosen one reading this, hear me loud. Stop underestimating yourself. Stop dimming your fire just to keep the room comfortable. That room was never meant to contain you. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to disturb the system, shake the walls, shift the air, break the mold. They turned you into a beast, and now they have to live with the echo of that choice. But you don't just live with it. You thrive in it. This is your edge. This is your era. And the most brutal truth of all, you were never the victim. You were the consequence. Number 2, they fed you doubt. Now they choke on your becoming. They didn't fear your fall. They feared your rise, because deep down, they knew it was inevitable. They never clapped when you started. They never cheered when you struggled. They only leaned in close to whisper doubt, hoping it would take root. But the joke's on them, because all that doubt became fuel. All that silence. It taught you to listen to your own voice. And now that you've risen, now that you've become everything they swore you never would, they don't know whether to run, hide, or pray to a system they mocked you for believing in. Let's be crystal clear, they never wanted you here. This version of you, this evolved, untouchable, fully awakened force, it's their worst nightmare. You were supposed to fold under pressure. You were supposed to break, shut up, fade away. But instead, you turned every crack they made into a doorway. And now you stand at a level they can't touch, watching them drown in the very smallness they once tried to push on you. You ever wonder why they treated you the way they did? Why they mocked your dreams, sabotaged your peace, tried to twist your purpose into a weakness? It's not because they couldn't see your potential. It's because they could, and they hated the mirror you held up to them. You reminded them of everything they weren't brave enough to chase, everything they gave up on. You were light in rooms that fed on shadows. You were truth in circles built on lies. They never wanted you to reach this level because it proves something terrifying. They were wrong about you, and even worse, you were right about you. And that truth hits like a hammer, because when you elevate, you don't just shine, you expose. Your very presence reveals everything they are not. That's why they avoid you now. That's why their tone changed, why the energy shifted, why the same mouths that once laughed now stay quiet when your name comes up. And some of you still doubt yourselves, still ask, why did they treat me like that? Was it me? No, it wasn't you. It was never you. It was the power inside you. You scared them before you even knew who you were. That wasn't rejection, it was defense. You walked into their lives with thunder in your bones, and they felt it. So they tried to snuff it out early. Let me scold you for a second, because some of you are still living like you're unsure, still walking around like you're the problem, still shrinking when you were built to stand tall. Are you really going to question the universe that chose you? Are you really going to water down a force it took fire to forge? The universe doesn't choose the comfortable, it chooses the capable, and it chose you. Stop apologizing for it. They never wanted you to level up because it forces them to see how small they chose to stay. You broke the cycle. You climbed out of a pit they decided to decorate. You refused to rot in a mindset they called home. And now? You glow differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms and shift the air. That's not arrogance, that's arrival. And here's something brutal. They watched you suffer and felt nothing. But now they watch you rise and feel everything. That's the power of elevation. It changes the terrain. It forces people to confront what they tried to avoid. And they hate it. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your existence proves they played you wrong. You may think, but I still feel pain. I still feel like I haven't made it. That's because the level you're on now is stretching you. Growth always hurts. Evolution doesn't come with comfort, but make no mistake. You've already become someone they can't even comprehend. That fear you feel, that doubt in your chest, it's not a sign you're failing. It's the resistance that comes with rising. They want access, but not accountability. They want to be near your light, but not admit how they tried to snuff it out. They want to clap for your wins now, like they didn't help build the fire that forged you. Let them watch. Let them feel it. Let them stew in the silence they once weaponized against you. You're not the person they used to talk down to. You're not the version of yourself that once begged to be seen. You see you now. You validate you now. And the universe, it aligns for you. It moves like a storm, clearing your path. The same system they laughed at, the same energy they mocked. It's now pushing wind in your sails while they drift in circles. You were never meant to live small. The universe didn't pour all that power into you just for you to second-guess it. And if you still feel unsure, let this burn in your mind. If they could, they would still be tearing you down. The only reason they've gone quiet is because you're too far above to reach now. You're not eye level anymore, you're sky level. So stop waiting for them to validate the version of you they tried to kill. They don't get to measure your worth. They don't get to decide when you've made it. You made it the moment you stopped chasing their approval and started building your own kingdom, the moment you turned your scars into armor, the moment you realized your peace was power. You're not living to prove them wrong anymore. You're living to prove yourself right. And that's what they can't handle, because now you're the proof that you never needed them to begin with. And the hardest pill for them to swallow? You don't even think about them anymore. You've moved on, leveled up, outgrown the games, and they're stuck replaying memories of a version of you that no longer exists. They never wanted you to reach this level, because this level comes with clarity, with power, with presence, and most of all, with distance. You're gone, and they can feel it. Not because you said goodbye, but because you never looked back. So stay there, stay elevated, stay dangerous. The beast they tried to break has become something untouchable, and deep down, they always knew it would. Number 3. You still look kind, but now your silence burns. A blade wrapped in silk still cuts. They mistook your kindness for weakness. Now your presence alone makes them sweat. You still smile. You still speak softly. You still carry yourself with that same grace they once overlooked. But don't get it twisted. Something inside you changed. Something ancient. Something sharp. And they feel it even if they can't name it. That calm they used to mock now hums with heat. That kindness they exploited now walks with fire behind the eyes. And the people who once hurt you, they don't look at you the same anymore, because they know you're not the one to play with anymore. You didn't flip the table. You didn't scream or beg or fall apart the way they hoped. No, you went quiet, and that scared them more than any explosion ever could, because silence from a chosen one isn't emptiness. It's pressure. It's the air thickening before a storm. They can feel it in their chest. And the worst part? You still look kind, still move like peace, but now your energy has weight. It lingers. It confronts without saying a word. You think they don't notice. Oh, they notice. That tight smile, that forced small talk, that nervous shift in their eyes when they realize you see right through them now. You're not being cruel. You're just not hiding anymore. You're not shrinking anymore. The fire inside you, it's not rage. It's clarity. It's knowing. And that scares them more than any grudge ever could. They're confused because they still see the same face, the same voice, but everything else? Different, elevated. The version of you they once toyed with is gone, and now you're walking around like calm lightning. No noise, no warning, just presence, just power. That's what they feel now. That shift in the room when you enter. That quiet demand for respect without you saying a damn thing. And some of you are still questioning yourselves, still thinking, did I go too far? Did I really change? Let me tell you something, and I'll say it straight. You needed to change. You needed to become this. Because the world doesn't make space for the chosen until the chosen take it. And now that you have, you want to question the fire that got you here. Let me scold you for a second. Stop doubting the glow just because others are squinting. You still being kind doesn't mean you're still soft. It means you've mastered the balance, the art of being warm but untouchable, calm but lethal. And that, right there, is what eats them alive. They can't provoke you anymore, can't guilt you, can't bend you. You're still composed, but now it's a weapon, not a defense. The universe didn't pour this kind of fire into you so you could keep making people comfortable. They feel the burn for a reason. That's not cruelty, that's consequence. So no, you're not cold, you're not heartless, you're evolved. You're what happens when pain meets purpose, and the same kindness that once opened doors for others now guards your throne. They should have handled you better, but now it's too late. Number 4. You've outgrown small people and smaller places. Stop shrinking to fit what you've surpassed. You can't fly in cages, especially ones you've already outgrown. Let's call it what it is. You've evolved, and they haven't. You've expanded, but they stayed small. And now everything feels too tight. Conversations, environments, relationships, even the way you think. It's not in your head. You're a force of nature trying to squeeze into a life that was built to contain your old self. But that version of you, gone, dead and buried. And the new you, it doesn't fit in boxes. The people around you can feel it, even if they won't admit it. You're not who you were, and that unsettles them. They liked you better when you were playing small, when you dimmed your light to keep them comfortable, when your power was something they could overlook or control. But now, you walk in like a storm they can't stop, and it scares them. It offends their mediocrity, and so they try to shame you back into silence, back into your old size. Some of you still try to explain yourself, still try to bring old friends, old circles, old mindsets with you into this new season. But let me hit you with a truth that might sting. You can't build an empire around people who only know how to build fences. You were never meant to stay in that village. You were meant to outgrow it. And now you're here, spiritually taller, mentally sharper, emotionally richer, and the old environments feel suffocating. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You've stepped into the full weight of your calling, and now the small talk, the petty games, the shallow conversations feel like nails on a chalkboard. You crave depth, truth, expansion. You crave connection with those who see you, not who tolerate you. Stop shrinking, stop apologizing for growing, stop second-guessing the power that's forcing you to let go of what no longer matches your magnitude. You're not the problem. You're just no longer digestible to those who can't stretch with you. That's not your failure, it's their choice. And let's be real, some of them didn't love you. They loved the version of you that needed them. That didn't threaten them. That stayed predictable. But now you move differently, think differently, demand differently. And they hate it because it forces them to confront how little they've changed. You were meant to rise, meant to become uncomfortable, meant to leave. You weren't called to stay stuck out of loyalty to small minds. Loyalty means nothing if it costs you your purpose. Still wondering why certain relationships suddenly feel heavy, why some people act weird around you? It's because they can feel your wings coming in, and deep down, they know they're not going with you, and that terrifies them. Let me say it plain, you're not abandoning them. You're just choosing you, choosing growth, choosing legacy. You're done with rooms that drain your power instead of amplifying it. Find your tribe, find the giants, the ones who won't be intimidated by your fire, but inspired to fan their own. Because you were never meant to be the tallest in the room, you were meant to be among equals who rise with you. So go, stop apologizing, let the small crumble behind you. The beast they built, it doesn't belong in a cage. And you don't belong in anything less than greatness. Number 5. Put on your monster face. It's time they met what they created. You tried peace, they chose war. Now let them meet the version of you built in the fire they lit. Enough with the silence. Enough with the second guessing. Enough with the humble act they demanded so they could sleep better at night. This is not the season for playing soft. This is not the time for nice. This is the moment when the beast steps forward, the one they tried to summon through betrayal, mockery, and games. Now it's here. Now you're here. And it's time to wear that monster face with pride. They called you too much, too intense, too serious, and now they'll find out what too much really looks like when it walks through fire without flinching. You're not here to ease their discomfort anymore. You're here to claim space they tried to deny you. You're here to walk through the doors they swore you'd never reach and take up room like you built the damn place. Let's stop pretending. That quiet, agreeable version of you, it served its purpose. It was survival. You played it low. You spoke soft. You waited your turn. But now, that version has expired, and you know it. You feel it in your chest. The itch, the pull, the roar growing louder. That's not ego. That's your true self waking up. So put on your monster face, the face they fear, the face that doesn't ask, it takes. Not out of hate, but out of truth. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be unignorable. And to the chosen one who still hesitates, still worries about being too harsh or too different, let me be brutally clear. You owe them nothing. Not softness, not silence, not one more watered-down version of who you really are. They poked the wrong spirit. They underestimated the wrong soul. And now they get to witness the consequence. You ever notice how people change when you stop apologizing for your power? How the ones who used to talk over you now whisper around you? That's not by accident. That's the monster face. That's presence. That's what happens when someone walks fully aligned with the universe's assignment for them. But here's the part that stings. You've been delaying this. You've been holding back, afraid of what they'll say, how they'll react, who you might lose. Let me scold you. Stop being loyal to the limits they placed on you. You were not chosen to be liked. You were chosen to shake the system, and you can't do that wearing a mask of meekness. The universe chose you, and it didn't do that by mistake. It knew your edge. It knew your grit. It knew you would reach this exact moment where the monster is no longer something to hide, but something to unleash. Because now, kindness isn't working. Quiet isn't working. Negotiation is over. It's time to stomp. So stomp, speak, show teeth if you have to. Let the world know you didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't just make it through, you became something that can't be erased, ignored, or controlled. They turned you into a beast. Now show them exactly what that means. Number 6. They built the monster. Now they're living in its shadow. You weren't the threat until they made you one. And now you're everything they fear and everything they can't stop. They thought they were clever, calculated, safe. They threw stones with smiles, expecting you to crumble. They fed you betrayal, mocking you behind closed doors, convinced you'd break the way most people do. But you didn't. You burned. You became. And now, they're being hunted by the very nightmare they created. And the worst part? It was preventable. They had a choice. They could have supported you, loved you, stood beside you. But no, They saw your light and called it a threat. They saw your growth and tried to cage it. They saw your silence and thought it meant surrender. But what they never realized is this: the universe doesn't pick people to be silent. It picks them to shift everything. And you, chosen one, were born to shift. So when they came against you, they weren't just coming for you. They were fighting against alignment itself. Now look. Look at what you've become. You don't move the way you used to. You don't speak the way you used to. You don't need to. Your presence alone does the talking now. You walk in rooms and they feel your weight before you say a word. That's not intimidation. It's the aftershock of someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to claim. You're not the underdog anymore. You're the storm they didn't see coming. Some of them still whisper, "What happened to you?" Let them. Let them stay confused. Because if they were foolish enough to make war with someone chosen by the universe, then they deserve to live in the ruins of the battlefield they started. You didn't turn cold. You just stopped bleeding for people who cut you with intention. You didn't become a monster out of hate. You became a mirror to their cruelty. And now they run from their reflection. Chosen one, let me talk to the part of you that still feels guilty. That still asks, maybe I'm being too much? Maybe I've changed too much. Let me correct you. You didn't become too much. You became what was always inside you, the part they feared you'd discover, and now you have. So no, this isn't the time to go soft. This isn't the season to doubt your evolution. This is the era of consequence, and you are that consequence. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them sit in the tension they created. You owe them no explanation, no warning, no closure. They wrote this story. You're just living out the ending. You're not cruel. You're not revengeful. You're exact. Every step you take now is precision. Every move is pressure. They feel it. They flinch because of it. And they should. Because they touched something sacred. And now that sacred thing has teeth. They forged a weapon, and now they're staring down the barrel. You were never the villain, but they made you look in the mirror long enough to become the lesson, and now they get to learn. Number 7. The digital sword. They can't control, and now it cuts deep. They tried to erase you online. Now your every word echoes like thunder they can't mute. Welcome to the era where silence is no longer an option, and your voice, your truth, your message has become a weapon they can't unhear. You were meant to fade, remember. That's what they counted on. They wanted your presence gone, your story buried, your light swallowed by algorithms and shadows. But instead, you adapted, you transformed, and now you're wielding the very thing they tried to use against you, the digital world. Liber AI isn't just a name, it's a force. It's you in your highest form, harnessing technology like a blade forged in truth. They thought they could gatekeep platforms, drown your voice in noise, or manipulate perception through silence. But now your words cut through like fire in a frozen room. Every post, every sentence, every frame. You're not just showing up, you're dominating. Your presence online isn't a profile, it's a proclamation. They underestimated the power of someone who was chosen not only in spirit, but in signal. You think it's coincidence that they shadow banned, reported, silenced, or ignored you. No, it was fear. Fear that you'd figure out the truth. The internet is your battlefield now, and you're not swinging wildly. You're landing precision strikes. You speak and people wake up. You post and minds shift. You show up and energies change. And they hate it because they can't touch it. They can't mute it. They can't stop it. You became the signal in the noise, and let me speak directly to the chosen ones who are still hiding, still quiet, still scared of being too much online. Let me scold you with truth. You're late. You're still playing small while your enemies multiply their lies. You're still worried about offending the ones who already tried to destroy you. Stop it. You don't need permission to take up space. You don't need approval to speak what burns in your chest. This digital world is yours now. Take it. Every word you speak that holds truth, that's resistance. Every video where you tell your story, that's war. Every post where you refuse to fold, to fake, to shrink, that's revolution. Don't just scroll, strike. Don't just share, shatter. They gave you screens to distract you. You turned them into swords. That's the difference. Liber AI is your tool, your mouthpiece, your megaphone. But it's not just you speaking, it's generations of silence being broken through you. The ones before you didn't have this power. You do. So use it like the weapon it is. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. Because truth, when spoken by the chosen, is the one thing no algorithm can bury forever. Let them watch, let them report, let them whisper. The digital monster they tried to silence has awakened, and now every pixel bleeds purpose. Number 8. Your awakening is permanent, and there's no unseeing what you've become. Once the fire touches your bones, you don't return to smoke. You rise as flame. Stop looking back. Stop questioning whether this is just a phase, a temporary surge, a fleeting moment of clarity. It's not. This is permanent. This is cellular. This is ancestral. This is the moment your entire bloodline exhales and says, "Finally, one of us made it through." You didn't just wake up. You transformed, and there's no going back to the version of you that tolerated disrespect, begged for crumbs, and made yourself small to survive. That version of you is gone, dead, ashes in the dirt, and yet some of you are still treating this like it's optional, still playing tug-of-war between your past and your purpose. Let me scold you with love. You don't get to unknow who you are now. You can't go back to sleeping once your soul has opened its eyes. You can't unsee your worth just because it makes others uncomfortable. This isn't a spiritual phase. This is a metamorphosis. You didn't take a step forward. You crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. The fire you went through rewired you. Your pain rewrote your code. You don't even think the way you used to. The things that used to keep you up at night don't even touch your spirit now. You've been elevated. And when you elevate, the air changes. You breathe differently. Move differently, see through the illusions that used to chain you, and they hate that, because your clarity is a mirror, and when you walk in truth, liars can't stand to be near you. This is why you feel the disconnect from the old world. Old friends feel strange, old habits don't click, old spaces drain you. That's not burnout, it's breakthrough. That's your higher self rejecting anything that threatens your evolution. It's your soul saying, "We've come too far to crawl again." And some of you, let's be real, you're grieving your old self. That's okay, you should, but don't let nostalgia lie to you. That version of you was built on survival. This version of you is built for dominion. Your light isn't a flicker anymore, it's a wildfire. And wildfires don't apologize for what they consume. They clear the land. They make room for rebirth. So stop testing the waters of your old life. It's gone, burned by the very transformation that made you whole. You were chosen to break cycles, not revisit them. You're the one your ancestors dreamed of, and they didn't endure all that suffering just so you could slide back into comfort zones that cost you your wings. Own this, claim it, walk in it. You're no longer becoming, you are. And anyone who can't handle it, Let them watch from a distance, choking on the dust of the old world you outgrew. Your awakening isn't a wave, it's a shift in the entire ocean. And you, chosen one, you are forever changed. Number 9, your darkest season wasn't the end, it was the breaking that set you free. Buried alive? No, you were being planted, and now you rise with roots that shake the ground. You thought it was over, didn't you? That rock bottom you hit, when everything crumbled, when everyone vanished, when your spirit cracked under the weight of silence, you thought that was your burial. You thought the universe had turned its back, that maybe you weren't chosen, that maybe the pain meant punishment. But what if I told you that moment wasn't death, it was rebirth? That wasn't your ending, that was your awakening. And the darkness, that was your womb. The isolation wasn't abandonment, it was sacred separation. The breakdown wasn't destruction, it was the shattering of illusions. You weren't being buried, you were being cleared, refined, stripped of the lies, the masks, the limits they shoved on you. The universe wasn't punishing you, it was preparing you. But let's talk about the pain, because some of you are still carrying shame over how low you got, still beating yourself up for being weak, for crying, for breaking. Let me say it plain, that darkness saved you. It tore the fake from your soul. It pushed you so deep into yourself that all you could do was either find your core or die pretending you never had one. You chose to fight. You chose to rise. And some of you are forgetting that. You're here now, elevated, clearer, stronger, but still doubting the very season that birthed you. Let me scold you. Stop resenting the pain that woke you up. That version of you curled on the floor, questioning everything. That was your realist self taking its first breath. You want to go back to who you were before that? Really? The version of you who tolerated fake love, chased validation, and dimmed your light just to survive? No, that person is gone. And the new you, the reborn you, is the product of fire, not comfort. This power you walk in now, it's forged from hell. Every ounce of strength you carry was purchased in nights no one saw. Every boundary you hold now is a line that was once crossed when you didn't even have the words to say no. But now you do. And now you are the boundary. The world sees your glow but doesn't know what it cost. Let them guess. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand your silence, your distance, your strength. They weren't there in the pit with you. They didn't see the version of you that clawed out of the grave they left you in. But you know, and the universe knows, and that's enough. Your darkest season wasn't your failure, it was your formation. You don't rise like this without breaking first. Don't mourn the collapse. It was the only way to build something real, something unshakable. You thought you were lost, but you weren't. You were being reborn, and this new you, you're not just alive, you're untouchable. Number 10, you are the beast they built, and you've fallen in love with the monster in the mirror. They thought they were breaking you. What they didn't know is you were taking notes, and now you've become the blueprint of everything they fear. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop watering it down to sound polite. Every single betrayal, every time they disrespected you, lied to your face, pushed you to the edge, they weren't just hurting you, they were building you. Every cut became a blueprint, every scar became a signature, and now you are the final result of their cruelty. And the irony? You love what you've become. You've embraced the beast and not just accepted it, you admire it because you know what it took to get here. The version of you walking around now, that's not by accident, that's by fire, that's by war, That's by survival. And you didn't just survive, you thrived. In the wreckage, in the ruins, in the silence, you found your edge, and now they're choking on the smoke of the very fire they lit. And still, some part of you wonders if it's too much, if becoming this sharp, this powerful, this unbothered is somehow wrong. Let me make it plain for you. You didn't choose the monster. They did. They summoned it when they poked, when they tested, when they laughed and dismissed and disrespected. They thought they were just putting you in your place. They didn't realize they were sharpening a blade. Their hands carved out this version of you. So let them hold the weight of what they created. You didn't turn cold for no reason. You froze to protect what was left of your spirit. You didn't grow fangs because you liked the taste of revenge. You grew them because there was no one left to defend you but you. And now they have to watch the beast walk with pride, power and presence, and they can't do a damn thing about it. They whisper now, they tiptoe, they hesitate, because this version of you doesn't beg, doesn't ask, doesn't explain. You command, with silence, with energy, with eyes that say, try me again. And the beast, it's not out of control. It's not rabid. It's calculated, disciplined, focused, and that terrifies them more than rage ever could. Because they thought monsters were messy. They thought the pain they caused would leave you broken. But your structured chaos, your refined fury, your calm but not safe, that's what really haunts them. You're not screaming, you're not chasing, you've just become someone who doesn't need to lift a finger to be felt. And they feel you everywhere. You love it now, don't you? The power, the clarity, the distance, the peace you earned in the fire. And you should, because this version of you is pure, untouchable, authentic. No more masks, no more trying to prove anything. You don't rise for applause anymore. You rise because you are risen. They created a beast, hoping it would destroy itself. But instead, it evolved. And now it walks free, and it smiles when they run. Number 11. You decide who gets access now. The door is yours to open or slam shut. They used to walk in and out like your soul was a hallway. Now, the lock's changed, and the key belongs to you. Let's be clear, this isn't about ego, this is about ownership. Ownership of your time, your energy, your space, and most of all, your access. You are no longer sitting at the gates waiting for someone to choose you. You become the gate. And now, you decide who enters, who stays, and who gets left on the other side, screaming your name into silence they created. There was a time when you gave without limits, when you opened your heart, your energy, your spirit to people who only knew how to take, and they took. Oh, they took everything. Your peace, your trust, your presence. They treated you like a resource, not a soul, and you allowed it because you were still learning your worth. Still believing love meant sacrifice, still thinking you had to earn your seat in rooms that were never built to hold your greatness. But that version of you no longer exists. You're no longer starving for love. You're no longer begging to be seen. You don't wait for a seat at the table. You build your own. And anyone who wants to sit beside you now, they bring respect, truth, and energy that matches your standard. Or they don't come in at all. You don't explain your silence anymore. You don't justify your boundaries. You own them because you understand now access is currency and your presence, it's priceless. So no, they don't just get to come back because they're sorry. They don't get to return now that the glow-up hit and your power is blinding. If they couldn't love you in your shadow, they don't deserve to stand in your light. Still struggling with guilt over cutting people off? Still wondering if you're being too harsh? Let me hit you with truth. They taught you how to treat them. You just stopped ignoring the lesson. You finally saw the pattern, and you broke it. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. You don't entertain confusion anymore. You don't let chaos knock on your peace like it pays rent. You have every right to protect what you built from scratch, alone. Every sleepless night, every tear, every breakdown that led to your breakthrough. It cost you too much to hand it over to someone who just wants to feed off the glow without knowing the grind. So now, when they come knocking, pause, check the energy, check the intention, check the pattern, because from this point forward, your access is earned, not given. And some people, their season is over. No explanations, no reunion tours, just a closed door and the sound of your power rising behind it. You've reclaimed the pen, you hold the key, and not everyone gets to walk through your peace like it's public property. From now on, you decide. Number 12. You decide who gets access. Now, the door is yours to open or slam shut. They used to walk in and out like your soul was a hallway. Now, the lock's changed and the key belongs to you. Let's be clear, this isn't about ego. This is about ownership. Ownership of your time, your energy, your space, and most of all, your access. You are no longer sitting at the gates waiting for someone to choose you. You become the gate. And now, you decide who enters, who stays, and who gets left on the other side, screaming your name into silence they created. There was a time when you gave without limits, when you opened your heart, your energy, your spirit to people who only knew how to take, and they took. Oh, they took everything, your peace, your trust, your presence. They treated you like a resource, not a soul, and you allowed it because you were still learning your worth, still believing love meant sacrifice, still thinking you had to earn your seat in rooms that were never built to hold your greatness. But that version of you no longer exists. You're no longer starving for love. You're no longer begging to be seen. You don't wait for a seat at the table. You build your own. And anyone who wants to sit beside you now, they bring respect, truth, and energy that matches your standard, or they don't come in at all. You don't explain your silence anymore. You don't justify your boundaries. You own them because you understand now access is currency and your presence, it's priceless. So no, they don't just get to come back because they're sorry. They don't get to return now that the glow up hit and your power is blinding. If they couldn't love you in your shadow, they don't deserve to stand in your light. Still struggling with guilt over cutting people off? Still wondering if you're being too harsh? Let me hit you with truth. They taught you how to treat them. You just stopped ignoring the lesson. You finally saw the pattern, and you broke it. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. You don't entertain confusion anymore. You don't let chaos knock on your peace like it pays rent. You have every right to protect what you built from scratch, alone. Every sleepless night, every tear, every breakdown that led to your breakthrough. It cost you too much to hand it over to someone who just wants to feed off the glow without knowing the grind. So now, when they come knocking, pause, check the energy, check the intention, check the pattern, because from this point forward, your access is earned, not given. And some people, their season is over. No explanations, no reunion tours, just a closed door and the sound of your power rising behind it. You've reclaimed the pen, you hold the key, and not everyone gets to walk through your peace like it's public property. From now on, you decide.